Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my budget EF Civic build. We're going to be fixing a number of things that are actually wrong with this car and stop it from driving well. The first of which, we're going to be swapping out these massive monster truck tires for some lower profile 195 50/15. This should make the car look a ton better, because I feel like it just looks a bit weird at the moment on the massive tires. Now, to just address a few comments from the last video, was people talking about how it's a budget build when I'm put on T37 wheels. Just a disclaimer, these wheels are actually not genuine, so these are actually fake T37 wheels. I just chucked the stickers on to make them look more real, but it is a budget build and I don't have that much money, but I'm making do with what I have, and I think it's coming out really nice. Worth mentioning is I know that the camera quality has been really poo recently, and that is because my current phone is, as you can see, completely smashed up and doesn't turn on. And this is what I used to film it on, but currently I'm filming it on a different phone which has way worse quality. So I'm going to be also fixing this today, and then we should see some better footage, so look forward to that. Another absolutely stunning day in Welly. We just finished getting the tires mounted onto the wheels, and I also fixed the phone. So this is the quality on how I used to film it, not on the newer phone that I had. So yeah, super stoked on that, and I'm super stoked with how the car's handling. So obviously, like, the car looks so much better with a smaller profile wheel, but man, it handles so much better. We used to have like a lot of wheel hog, but now there's none of that, and it feels a lot more lively and twitchy, which is perfect. I'm super happy. That's what the car looks like with the smaller wheels. As you can see, the back is still tucked, but now the front looks real goofy because there's a massive gap. But still looks so much better than it did before. So here is the current situation of the Civic. So I've actually lowered the front, and I've got some new tires on it, and she's looking mean. Absolutely loving the look of it at the moment. But basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be respraying the roof. So you can see there's a lot of clear coat peel here and here and on the wing, and we're basically going to be fixing all that up, as well as this rust that has started to develop here. So I'm going to be fully patching that up with metal, which will be like kind of my first time doing that really. And then yeah, also respraying this side here. Like, obviously the rest of the car is also really rough, but I'm just going to be starting with the roof for now. I'm contemplating doing the bonnet as well, but like, it is still pretty nice apart from that spot there. But yeah, it's mainly this massive eyesore that's basically white now. So yeah, should make the car look a whole lot better. Along with respraying the roof, we're also going to be doing a lot of other modifications to make this thing look a whole lot better. Stuff that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but just haven't really found the time to do or found the motivation to do, but we're going to be doing them. So yeah, stay tuned for a massive transformation on my Civic. So you may be wondering, why don't I just respray the whole car at once? That is a good point, but to be quite honest, I don't have the time to fully sand down the car at the moment and fully respray the whole thing, nor do I have the facilities for that. If I was to respray this whole car, I'll be doing it bit by bit, because of the confined space. So hence why I'm just starting off with the roof, which is really the main eyesore on this car. But eventually we will respray the whole thing, give the whole thing a birthday, but we'll see how this turns out first. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to dive into is this rust. So, not really sure what the plan of action is for this, but first things first, we're going to take this aerial out because we're going to be plugging in this hole anyway. So let's get this off and see how bad the rust is. So we've got the aerial out. It's probably not as bad as I think. Sand this all back and expose the rust. Okay, so the rust is obviously a bit worse than I thought, but that's no problem. Basically what I'm going to do, chop it about here, up here, along here, up here. So that'll be the patch panel there. And I've got an old MR2 boot lid that I'm not using. It's good because it's like similar kind of gauge metal. So I'll chop a bit out of here and I'll use that as a patch panel in here. Hopefully just get rid of all this rust. I think the rust is happening because you can see there's a little sandwich plate for the antenna thing, so that sandwiched underneath and moisture got in there, and then rusted it out from the bottom. So would have just pulled up here and then rusted it out, which is not good. Very glad I'm finally tackling this. A bit nervous to how it's actually going to turn out though. So hopefully we can do a good job. Which slots right in there, and I've got it drawn out on the boot lid here on the metal, so we'll chop that out and then see if it fits. So here's what the patch panel looks like. Fits up all right. We can just lay some simple weld in here, no problem. First of all, I got to put down some weld through primer, and then we can get to welding it in. All right, just about to start welding. Got it all or so later, and there she is, all buttoned up. I've gone through and welded up all the pinholes, grinded it back, weld, grind, and yeah, it's ready for some body filler and some primer and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll probably jump into that now. So we got one coat of edge primer on, and we'll check back in tomorrow for some body filler and that kind of stuff. Just put quite a lot of body filler on here. Most of it's going to get sanded back off, but it's better to put more on than less, so you don't have to do multiple coats. So this is going to take a while to dry, so in the meantime we're going to be doing some other little jobs. And the first job is I'm going to be replacing this door trim seal thingy. As you can see, it's broken and all the paint's chipping off, and I've bought some to replace it. So firstly we've got to take this door card off, and then we should be able to just unbolt it. So just like that, the old one is out and the new one is in. So much better. Alright, now we have a pretty special moment. I finally pulled the trigger on a front lip for my Civic. Basically, since the first day I got it, I've been wanting to buy a lip for it. Never ever bought one. I don't know why, I'm not sure. Eventually, impulse bought it the other day. Rocked up a few days later, and here it is. This is $300 for this piece of plastic, which seems so ridiculous, but yeah. Sand that off and then start prepping the roof for paint. So I sanded it back as you saw, and then I've also put another skim layer of body filler just to cover in all the holes fully. So while that's been drying, I've been polishing the headlights. So got them sanded back, and I'm going to be trying out this product. I've never really done anything like this. So this is a lens clear. Someone told me about it, so I'm going to give it a try today. So I've got them fully sanded. So I'm 2000 grit at the moment, fully prepped and ready. And then let's see how it turns out. Wow. Jeez, these headlights look brand new. This is like glass. So that's after one coat. It was looking a little bit hazy, and I hit it with the heat gun, and boom. Once that thing had dried, it just fully clear. Man, that's amazing. This is crazy, and it's gonna last a long time too. So yeah, we're gonna chuck one more coat on, then we'll be done. So we're finished up with restoring them. So stoked with how this came out. Now let's whip the masking tape off and see how it looks. Woo! That's crazy. That's gonna make a massive difference. So you can see we have the roof, the wing, all sanded back. I used 220 grit because it was quite rough, and then I'll go over it with 320 grit before I hit it with the base coat. But as you can see, someone's actually been here. So there's some body filler and some primer. So this has been resprayed at some point and filled in. Maybe there's a big dent in here or something. Same thing on the other side, but maybe that's why the clear coat actually failed. It wasn't actually the factory paint that failed, it was someone else's work. But we still got to sand this back here. I think this hopefully is going to be the last kind of layer of body filler, and then we can get to finally painting this thing. You can see this is what we're going to do kind of at the corners. We're just going to blend it into the rest of the panel. So I'll mask it all off, leave this panel thing, but I'll try blend it in here. But yeah, coming along well. So yeah, pretty stoked with how this came out. Hopefully when the paint's on there, you won't be able to tell that any work was done there. So that's pretty cool. I'll chuck some edge primer on it now, and then we'll move forward. We've got it back into the garage here, and we're getting ready to spray the top. So I've got it all prepped up. Now we got to lay down the masking tape and tape everything off that we don't want painted, which is actually a lot more time consuming than you might think. So let's get into that. So we finally got it all taped up. That took me ages. If you're ever going to do this yourself, I recommend getting this stuff. Makes life a whole lot easier, way quicker. This side took me literally a quarter of the time it took me to do all of this paper stuff. So. One of the base coat is done, but I'm not very happy with it. It's orange peeling really bad back here. I'm going to try use some more pressure and less paint, so maybe I'll try thin out the paint even more. So yeah, a bit bummed about it actually, but we'll see if we can fix it. There's a good show of all the orange peel. Basically what causes orange peel is when the paint hasn't atomized properly, or maybe it's just not dry, because when it dries out it flattens out quite a lot. But yeah, we'll keep you updated. Unfortunately guys, this is by far the worst paint job I've ever done. Just don't know what's going on. This is a new paint brand that I haven't used before that might have something to do with it, but I've tried everything with the gun settings to try and get it laid flat, but I feel like the first coat I did had a lot of orange peel, which meant all the other coats on top, no matter if I had the gun settings right or not, then they all get orange peely, but Jesus, it's terrible. At the moment, I'm just praying on hopefully I can lay a lot of clear coat down and I can give it a really good cut and polish, and hopefully praying it can flatten out. Otherwise we're just gonna have to sand it all back and respray it again, but to add insult to injury, a bloody fat mosquito just lands right on the roof. But I guess that's what you get when you paint in your garage. But yeah, so disappointing. I put a lot of work into sanding it back and stuff, and just masking it all up, and then to have that happen, just to have it orange peeling and not lay right, it sucks. That's more like it. Clear coat coming out well. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, maybe it was just the paint that I had. But yeah, got a few more layers of clear coat, and then we should be done. But there you can see all that orange peel. Hopefully it'll buff out. Already looks so much better. Well, would you look at that? I went really heavy with the clear coat, so I've done about 4, maybe even 5 coats, and it seems to have flattened out majority of the orange peel that we had going on. So stoked with it. There is quite a few divots and stuff, but that's all from like dust falling from the ceiling. You obviously got to expect that when you paint in the garage, but that should all buff out, or all cut and polish out. Hopefully, got a few bugs in there. There's even a mosquito that's chilling right there. But oh, so happy. I was so ready to just scrap it all off and kind of start again when I had all that orange peel. But yeah, so glad I stuck with it. Look at that beautiful, beautiful flake of that factory color. Oh, so stoked. But yeah, guys, I'm so stoked with that. I can't wait to pull all the masking tape off and have a look at the car fully black, because the roof has been such an eyesore for so long, and I just know she's going to look so bloody good with a glossy roof. It's going to make all the difference. Cannot wait. We've got to let it cure for a couple days, and then we'll be able to get to cutting and polishing this bad boy. All right, so it's the next day, and we have all the masking tape undone and the car outside in the sun. Now, it was a bit disappointing. I woke up this morning and I looked at it, and the paint has dulled right out like a lot, but it's still like got like heaps of clear coat. But yeah, there's a lot of divots, as you can see there. I'm praying that they come out with a you can just see like all the dust that fell on it overnight kind of thing while it was still curing. But I'm praying that we can pull all of the dullness and all those spots out with a cut and polish. But yeah, you can see this part here is pretty good with the pearl coming through. But yeah. So before we get into the next segment of the video, I just want to give a quick shameless plug to my Instagram that I've created for the channel. So
If you follow it, you can see live updates and kind of daily progress videos on all the different builds I have on my channel. So yeah, be sure to check it out.
Stoked with how the front lip came out. I think makes the front end look way more aggressive. I've been wanting front lip for so bloody long. Finally got one, put it on, and boy does she look good. This is not really the type of video I usually make, but I feel like I owe you guys an explanation. So this morning I was driving my Honda Civic, as I do every single day, because it's my daily and I love driving it. But this morning I was driving it to Bunnings, bought some stuff to fix up a Honda Fit that I'm working on, and on the way home I was driving through a tunnel and I actually rear-ended an SUV thingy in front of me. So you may be wondering how it happened. I was driving, I wasn't being an idiot, I wasn't on my phone, I wasn't up their ass or anything. I was probably going 30, 40 k's an hour maybe. Just chilling, probably a bit zoned out, listening to music or whatever. And then I think the car in front of the SUV slammed on its brakes in the middle of a free-flowing tunnel, which is just one lane on each side. And then which caused the SUV to slam on its brakes. I think the SUV almost rear-ended the car in front of them. So then I have to hop on my brakes, and I hop on my brakes, the brakes start braking, but they didn't brake fast enough. So I tap the brakes even harder, and then I end up basically like losing traction, and I just slide straight into the back of this SUV. I'll insert some photos here. This is what my Civic looked like straight after the crash. As you can see, the whole front end's absolutely munted. The whole front end's been pushed back about 30 centimeters or so. And then this is the damage on the SUV. As you can see, there's literally nothing. So yeah, it sucks. The lady, after the crash, obviously we pulled over, spoke to the lady. She was actually really nice, really understanding. She apologized for slamming on the brakes kind of thing. She was super understanding, like kind of helped me through it, but I was in a lot of shock, not from the crash really, just from the fact that this is basically my baby. Like you guys know, I spend so much time on this car, so much blood, sweat and tears, so many hours. Like I'm emotionally so invested in this car, and to see it like that wrecked, especially initially, it looked so like basically unfixable. I thought like, yeah, this car's like done for. So enough yapping, let's show you guys the damage. So I have since taken the bumper, the corner lights, that kind of stuff off. The bumper's actually savable. Had a massive dent in here, as you could see in the photo. I've since straightened that out. I had to pop that out straight away, otherwise it would have sit there. So we fixed up the bumper fine. But when it gets, so this panel is absolutely munted. This is the panel that holds the bumper on, that's munted. And then you can see one indicator survived, but the other didn't, which really broke my heart because these cost so much. So obviously at a glance, the car looked absolutely roasted. Looked like it had a massive crash, which was pretty clear to see. But now with the panels on the front end kind of off, you can see that the damage is really only, I mean, it's obviously really bad, but it's only located to the core support. So both front headlights are toast. On either side there's broken brackets and stuff, but you can see that this is all straight. This is the main thing that I was worried about. This is all straight, but you can see core support bent right there. It's bent back. It's bent. This is obviously all mangled. The bottom of it is straight, but that doesn't really matter because that's all coming out with the core support as well. But yeah, this is the frame rail here. That's all straight, all flat. That's nice and good. And then this one is all right as well. You can see it's had a little bit of damage there, but definitely what this car requires is a new core support. So that's the extent of the damage there. The main work is going to be in replacing that core support, but I have actually done a core support before on my first ever EF, which was a Carby little NZ new one. I did that no problem, and so I've learnt a lot off doing that, so I could probably do it again pretty easy. Well, not pretty easy, it's a massive job, but at least I have some experience in doing that. But yeah, the main thing I'm gutted about really is the fact that it's a JDM facelift front end, which in New Zealand is just almost impossible to find, and it's very, very expensive when you do find it. So the way I see it, there's basically three options. The first one being is I fix it by myself without taking it to insurance. That way it stays registered in New Zealand and I don't need to take it through re-registry. So the second option being is that I basically take it through insurance, and I think what will end up happening is the insurance company will take it to a mechanic. Mechanic will say, yep, like look, the car's toast, and they'll end up paying me out whatever I had the car insured for. So I think I have the car insured for like 3.5K or something really stupid like that, and having no insurance. So I'll get paid out and then I'll buy the car back off the insurance company and then I'll fix it all myself. But the problem with this one is that they'll likely take the registration off it, so I'll need to re-register it back on the road, which will cost probably quite a lot of money. It's a massive headache to do that as well. But obviously you get all the great content of me fixing it. That's in the first and second options. Or the third option being is, oh, that's fourth. The third option being is I basically find a whole new shell. So I was thinking I could find a whole, it doesn't even matter if it's fuel injected or not. I could find just a facelift kind of JDM front end, because that's what I really want. Facelift JDM front end, EF shell, rolling body, or even just a D series automatic again, and literally take everything out of this car and swap it in. That way we can start fresh with a clean shell. We can maybe spray it at that time, like do a whole new build. But I'm not the fondest fan of that idea, because like this car has its soul about it, that like, you know, I've built it from the ground up kind of thing, and this would kind of just add to the story of this car. I think it's also another great opportunity for me to not only fix the car, but also make it better than before. So I was even thinking, like, if I was going to replace the core support, I would pull the engine back out and put the new core support in, respray the whole engine bay, like really tidy up the swap, because back when I first did the swap, which was over a year ago now, like cut corners of it, and I would love to pull this engine out and really like do it properly, maybe even get a turbo kit on it or something like that. Definitely something I want to do in the future, but yeah, respray the engine bay, that kind of thing, really take the build to the next level, which would be cool. And it gives me a great excuse to do that. So that'll conclude today's episode. We did a bunch of work to really take this build to the next level, and then of course we went ahead and crashed it. Obviously it sucks, but it's just more great content for you guys, so be sure to look out for the next video, which will be episode 1 of rebuilding my crashed B16 swapped EF Civic.